So today I do want to. Doing a review for this game has been quite difficult because of everything going on online with it. I'm talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, I personally am really enjoying the game. It is a fun 4-person co-op looter shooter where you can play it solo, where you have AI companions for the other 3 members of the current Suicide Squad in the game, not counting the Joker, which has been confirmed, as well as other characters on the way later throughout the year. You have 2 guns, you have skill trees, a ton of stuff. It's a ton of stuff. It's a looter shooter, and it has been an absolute blast for me. Just the mix between melee and shooting. It's not like, say, Vermintide, where the main focus is on melee. The main focus in Kill the Justice League is on ranged firearm combat. And of course, you have people being like, oh, why is Captain Boomerang using a shotgun or an assault rifle? Why is King Shark using a minigun? Why is Harley Quinn using a shotgun? Because you're not going to... As a minor, what comes essentially amounts to a minor villain in Captain Boomerang, you're not going to push off an alien invasion using just your boomerangs. He does use his boomerangs in pseudo melee combat and as part of various skills that you use, but it's primarily your firearms and then melee for applying afflictions. Same goes for King Shark. He has a lot of melee combat synergies which you can build around, but you're still going to be using your fucking miniguns, your shotguns, whatever have you. Deadshot. He's an assassin. He's going to be using his guns. His melee is his wrist cannons, which they're a pseudo melee again. Once again, then you have Harley Quinn, who has her baseball bat, sledgehammer, whatever. She wields blunt weapons. She also has guns. It makes sense in the capacity for this game. None of these characters, outside of maybe King Shark, will stand toe to toe with, say, Superman. Naname is a demigod. He is up there in strength on the level of like Superman and Wonder Woman, though not as strong. The rest of them do need their guns, and that comes into play in the story later on, particularly having your gold kryptonite infused bullets and gold kryptonite to help fight Superman in that encounter. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. I should pull up the Metacritic for it as well. But what's going on is just completely confounding to me. And we're going to take a look at Metacritic for the game. We're going to take a look at Steam. We're going to take a look at the PlayStation Store. And we're going to take a look at the Xbox and just see kind of where this is going. Let's go ahead and pull over to Metacritic. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Not doing too great. Critic reviews, 63 user scores, 3.8. One thing that I really hate about Metacritic is that you don't need to own the game to make a review. There's no verification on here, which is the weird, crazy thing. And a lot of it is just coming from, oh, this isn't a Batman Arkham game. This is how are they making this is it technically the 4th game in the series? How is it a switch from a single-player action combat to a 4-player co-op looter shooter? Well, that's because that's what Rocksteady and Warner Brothers wanted to do, and you know what? More power to them. We're in a world where Square Enix recently said in a shareholders meeting that they're going to take less risks on IPs. They're going to make more of the same over and over and over and over again because risks don't pay off, and this is exactly what we're seeing here with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And this has nothing to do with the actual quality of the game, which I think the actual quality of the game is fairly high. It's extremely fun. It's very polished. It runs flawlessly. But yeah, 3.8 user reviews, 63 critic reviews. User reviews on Metacritic are absolutely, completely useless. There's no verification that has to go through to make sure you actually own the game. But here's where we're going to just kind of see the discrepancy in the distance between critics, sites such as Metacritic, and where users who have to own the game review the game. Let's take a look at Steam first. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I played it for 23.1 hours over the last week. It's sitting at very positive. 85% of the reviews, albeit only 2,000, are positive, which is, good. That is a good sign. It's a technical disaster. What? The servers are up. I mean, it was a disaster in early access, but yeah. Yeah, the consensus for Steam users is that it is a good game. Even on OpenCritic, it's, just critic reviews from Metacritic. We take a look at the PlayStation Store. 4.51 out of 3,000, almost 4,000 user reviews. That's still not adding up with what we see here. We take a look at, albeit there's only 672, 4 out of 5 stars. So you're looking at an 80%. That's not a 3.8. You're looking at a 90. That's not a 3.8. An 85. That's not a 3.8. So I don't know entirely what's going on here. But what I can say is that the game is fun. You have your loadouts for each character. I've mostly just been playing as King Shark. My favorite, just movement and everything around that. 2 weapons. Each character, be it King Shark, Boomerang, Harley Quinn, or Deadshot. They can equip 2 weapons. They have a melee weapon, a grenade, a shield mod, a traversal mod, which traversal is different for each character, a neck bomb mod, and you also have a lucky charm, which is just an extra piece of gear. Each character can wield 3 of the 5 different types of weapons. Is it 5? You have pistols, submachine guns, assault rifles, shotguns, heavy guns, and sniper rifles. So 6. They can wield 3 of the 6. And it's different per. So whereas King Shark can wield heavy guns, he can wield assault rifles, and he can wield shotguns, we'll say Harley Quinn cannot. Harley Quinn can wield pistols, heavy guns, and submachine guns. Whereas Deadshot can wield pistols, sniper rifles, and assault rifles. And Boomerang, he can wield sniper rifles, submachine guns, and shotguns. It's just different. That's it. Melee weapons, they're all different per each person. Captain Boomerang has his boomerangs. King Shark has some bladed weapons, ranging from sickles to axes to machetes. Harley Quinn, various different types of blunts, baseball bats, sledgehammers. Boomerang has different types, different flavors of boomerangs. Deadshot has his wrist rockets, his wrist cannons, mostly the same. Then you have your shield mods, which is, shareable between all the different characters. Traversal mods, completely unique per character. How you traverse is completely different as well. So whereas King Shark will use his natural demigod abilities to jump through the air, magically swim through the air, super jump, super sprint, run like the beast he is. Harley Quinn will use some Batman gear to grapple hook and swing around. Captain Boomerang uses a Speed Force gauntlet. Deadshot uses a jetpack. It's completely different. It's really fun. It's really nice. Then on top of that, you have your skill trees. You have 3 different trees for each character. You can see how little I've played some of these, minus this character psyched up for this one. It's definitely mostly been King Shark. And they just give you different modifiers. So here, tier 2 of strength and dominance, or tier 2 of the middle tree for everyone, in fact, will give you your suicide strike ability. Then beyond that, you have other abilities. You have your suicide, your squad ultimate, which is shared between everyone, and some other stuff. It's all based on a combo meter for gameplay and whatnot. But overall, it's just, I find the game to be quite good. It's quite enjoyable. You do have missions here, squad support missions, which they can all be kind of samey. The objectives are usually the same. destroy this gun emplacement, destroy these incubators, rescue these civilians. However, it does vary quite a bit on how you want to accomplish those. You're going to be looking at, say, you can only kill enemies with critical damage. You can only kill enemies by shield harvesting them, which is a mechanic you use to get your shield back. So like on here, this is working with Poison Ivy, who's back in the game, and this allows you to supercharge your afflictions. And your psyched up character is King Shark, so let's just kind of go check this out. Didn't mean to go down here.
So you decided to consult a specialist in large, cool things.
Exactly. I asked Daphne if we could increase the time.
I don't know. I tried writing out a review for it. It was just really hard to write out a review for this game because I had just so many kind of thoughts on it.
You were right to ask the imposing plant.
I didn't even really know where to begin. Creating this game, creating Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a huge, huge investment, both time and monetarily wise, to both Rocksteady as well as WB. And to have it lambasted before it even launched, the entire lead up to launch was horrendous.
Do you know what it costs me to produce one of those machines?
It was just kind of doomed to fail before even launch.
I have whole worlds worth of raw materials.
And that's just the kind of world we live in. Like I said before with, say, Square Enix saying they're not going to be creating more original IPs anymore. They're going to be going back to the good old steady moneymakers. We're just going to get more Final Fantasy 16s. More of the same. And this is why. You can see it with this game right here. Exactly what's going on. Let me turn down the game volume.
Toxic reactions already make my eye.
We don't know what kind of bioterror Ivy can.
So here in this case, you are going to be defending Poison Ivy's plants, and enemies will only take damage when they are afflicted. And you can see how you would afflict enemies here. By activating it from the plants, the plant objectives, by melee afflict striking them, or grenade afflicting. So here, we are going to defend some plants for affliction supercharging. And I am in the post-main content. So, come back here, guy. Come on. There we go.
No rest for a god.
Anyways, it's hard to explain it and talk at the same time. It's how Kill the Justice League was received prior to it even launching. Bless me, I am sick. I caught the new not Novid flu. It's how it was accepted pre-launching. It's in the Batman Arkhamverse, but it's not another single-player Batman action combat game. They're trying something new with the IP. It is the same universe. It's not Gotham Knights, which is also 4-player co-op, but is the same kind of combat action RPG. This is a 4-player co-op looter shooter. And they do have plans. There is a fucking store here you can go through and buy outfits and other random shit. You don't have to. You have your Finite Crisis, which is your live service stuff. Here's going to be all of the different Brainiacs you're going to be fighting later on. As seasons come out, you're going to have new heroes. You're going to have new villains, really. It's just really sad to see Rocksteady took a risk and they released a game which I find to be extremely fun. It's fun in single player, a little more difficult and clunky than if you're playing in co-op, but it's really fun in co-op. The times I've played with random people online squatting up has been really fun. It's a fun combat cycle. It is extremely vertical. It is extremely movement heavy. It's a movement shooter in co-op with, popular DC villains, B or C tier, as people like to say. It's like, oh, Captain Boomerang can't kill Superman. Well, he fucking did. They wrote it that way. It's an official DC story. I don't know. I just feel like if Kill the Justice League fails, we are going to see more and more and more rehashes than we ever have before. The big criticism about Spider-Man 2 was it was as safe as a sequel as you could make. And it was. It was an extremely safe sequel. It was more of the same, which isn't necessarily wrong, but you're not going to win a Game of the Year award doing that. They were nominated for 7 different categories. They won nothing. Games such as Alan Wake 2, which was, extremely experimental, did. Baldur's Gate 3, which it's a CRPG. It is a very niche genre. It won Game of the Year because it took risks that other companies wouldn't, because they were a smaller 2A size studio. With what I'm sure will be the eventual failure of Kill the Justice League, no matter how good it actually is, how much fun it actually is, we are really just going to get more Maddens, FIFAs, Call of Duties, Battlefields. That's just how it's going to be, which is really sad. Kill the Justice League, it's an extremely fun co-op looter shooter. Combat is extremely fun. You can tweak your builds however you see fit with different infamous or legendary items, fun different ways that they all interact with one another. But here we are. We are at the end of AAA gaming, and it's because taking risks, stepping outside of the box, it's no longer really feasible. Rocksteady, one of the, most lauded development studios, tried to step out of the box. And it's gonna bite them in the ass, and WB is gonna see that and not do anything more. I mean, you kind of did everything you could with the Batman Arkham games, moving it up from just the asylum to the city and whatnot. So, but the asylum to the city, the entire prison block to the actual full city of Gotham in Arkham Knight. They exhausted what they could. They told that story of Batman. They told a new story in the same multiverse. This is a multiverse game. You have 13 total Brainiacs you get to deal with across different universes. It's the finite crisis in this game because it's not infinite. There are only 13 total, and you take care of one. I don't think they might. They might not just actually make it through all the last remaining 12 at this rate. Like I said, it's the game itself. It's rated well. The game itself is rated well across the board. 85 on Steam, 4.51 out of 3.8 on the PlayStation Network. It's only 672, but 4 stars out of 5 on the Xbox Marketplace. People complain about stuff being stale, except when it changes, and they complain when it changes. That's just where we're at. Anyways, I feel like I kind of went off on a tangent here. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. My actual review. It looks great. It runs great when I'm not trying to record stuff. It was still sitting around 60 frames a second. I'm typically getting between, with just a dual screen setup, between 100 and 144 frames per second across the open world. It's insanely fun, vertical movement, traversal heavy gameplay. Even made even better in actual co-op. Because your co-op AI buddies can be a little clunky and not target the right things and just make stuff more difficult at times. But overall, it is a good experience. It looks absolutely great. The story is pretty good. I'm not really a fan for superhero stuff, but I enjoyed the story. It's the Justice League was taken over, and they have to be killed. I mean, typically this is every DC fanboy's wet dream because they use Batman's contingency plan to kill the Justice League, the Flash, Green Lantern, technically himself, Superman. So, I mean, this should be the wet dream of everybody, but because it's not Batman killing them, it's a problem. And this will be the last game that is ever made by a AAA studio that steps outside of the box and tries to do something new and unique with an already established IP. we are going to be entering a hellscape of rehashes and repeats. And I mean, honestly, look at with Sony and all the remasters they're doing. They're safe sales. They're extremely safe. There's no risk involved. They know it will do good. And that's where we are. We are sitting where these critic reviews and these 3.8 user scores of unverified owners are going to outweigh whatever the verified owners on Steam, the PlayStation Network, or Xbox say. It was just DOA to begin with, and it's kind of a sad thing. Anyways, it's a really fun game. I enjoy it. Was it worth $70? 23 hours? Like just almost nonstop. The only game I really played. It's definitely worth it. I got my money's worth. I'm gonna jump back in. There's more, stuff to do, more challenges to do, other characters to level up, build to complete. I'm having an absolute blast. I know I'm not the only one. You can tell by the reviews and other people being outspoken on the internet, but it's just, this is going to be the last risk we see taken in the AAA gaming space, and that's just really sad.